Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and today I'm going to talk about my 5 top tips to investing in silver or gold. It's a subject which I think is really important, certainly when I was starting out buying my stack. If I'd had something like this to refer to or to look at before then, perhaps I would have made a few different decisions. Not that I'm unhappy with the way my stack's turned out, I'm very happy with it, but there's always things I think I could have done better. And so without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into my 5 top tips. Top tip number 1 is decide your budget. I think it's really important to think about how much money you're going to actually invest in silver or gold, how you're going to invest that, whether it's monthly, quarterly, yearly. Treat the money like a savings account, so perhaps there are other things that money could be better used for. I'm not a financial advisor, but in my opinion I think it would be better for people to clear off any credit card debts they might have or loans before investing in silver or gold. And you should definitely think about silver or gold as a long-term investment rather than a short-term investment, and plan such that you wouldn't have to touch this silver in an emergency. So things like if your car breaks down or if your boiler breaks down, how are you going to pay for those? So make sure you haven't tapped yourself out and invested everything you've got in silver or gold. Top tip number 2 is decide whether you're going to be a collector or a stacker. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to be a collector, do a lot of research and find out which coins are going to be really good for you to buy. They could be slabbed coins, like this PCGS MS70 Kookaburra, or it could be things like coloured coins, like this coloured dragon, or it could even be things like Chinese pandas, which often hold higher premiums than other coins. But make sure you do your research beforehand. PCGS, NGC are really the best for slabbed coins. ANCAS doesn't often hold the same kind of weight in the market. If you're going to be a stacker, that's fine too. You've got so much different choice, so have a think about what you want to buy, whether it's going to be bars, coins, 1 ounce, 2, 5, 10, 1 kilo. There's so many different varieties and weights to choose from, so it's definitely worth thinking about what you're going to do in that respect. You're probably going to get better price per gram ounce if you buy big. So buying a 10 ounce bar, you're probably going to get a price per ounce than you will if you buy lots of 1 ounce bars. But think about how you're going to sell them as well. So selling a 1 ounce bar, it's only going to be 20, 22 quid, whereas selling a 10 ounce bar is going to be 200 quid. So finding a buyer for them might be a bit more difficult. You could also invest in hand-poured silver. So a little bit of shameless promotion, but this is my hand-poured silver that I've made myself. But just be wary of hand-poured silver, because sometimes it can be a lot more expensive per ounce than coins or bars, simply because it's quite hard to make. You need a lot of equipment to do it, and it takes a lot of time and effort, and I know firsthand how much time and effort it takes. Or of course you can invest in gold rather than silver. So you've got, for example, this 1 gold coin here, this half-ounce gold coin, is worth probably about the same as all of this silver on the table. So it's definitely worth thinking about what type you're going to invest in and how you're going to invest it. Either way, you've got to definitely think about what your buying strategy is. So whether you're going to buy these from dealers, whether you're going to buy them online. If you're in the UK, you've got to contend with VAT. So buying from Europe is probably your best option. There's plenty of different places out there to do it from. 2 of my favourites are goldsilver.be and silvertogo.com, 2 very, very good websites. And to put it in perspective, you can buy a 1 ounce coin on their website for about £17.80 per ounce, £18 per ounce, whereas in the UK with VAT it's probably costing you closer to £22 per ounce at the moment. So really massive differences. Top tip number 3 then is storage and security. I think that's really, really important to consider. The last thing you want is having your silver lying around the house, and on a lovely summer's day you've got your back door open, somebody wanders in and swipes all your silver. It's just going to wipe out your investment and not good for you. If you've got the money saved in a bank account, the bank's going to protect it for you, so it's your responsibility to protect your silver, whether that's through insuring it or, in my opinion, buying a safe. I've bought a safe for my silver. It's just an extra layer of protection to protect against that spur of the moment crime. That's really important. Also think about keeping it private. Would you go and tell all your friends and family that you've got £10,000 sitting in a bank account? I know I wouldn't. So it's the same principle with investing in silver, you wouldn't go and tell all your friends and family that you've got £10,000 worth of silver lying around the house. I mean, yeah, it's okay to share it with your partner, your loved one, but make sure that they know as well that it's not something that needs to be shared. Whilst they're absolutely gorgeous and lovely, and you might want to share and show them to all your friends and family, you don't show them everything. If you're going to show them anything, just show them a very small selection, like this gold, this dragon here. I've shown my family just because it's gorgeous and lovely, but they don't know the full extent of my silver. So there you go. Top tip number 4 then is to keep track of your investment. I'm an Excel geek, and I've created a giant spreadsheet which has anything and everything on there relating to how I've bought it, where I bought it from, the price, the postage, the shipping, the handling, any VAT, taxes, all of those types of things, what spot price was at the time, what the percentage over spot I paid, all of those types of things. It's really important to do that. And the same when you sell any of your bullion as well. So when I sold a gold sovereign a couple of weeks ago, just plugged that into my spreadsheet, bought it for 190, sold it for 240, tells me that I've made 40% profit over 6 months, which is fantastic. So you know what, that's a really good investment, and you wouldn't get that kind of return from money in a bank. So think of it like that. I think keeping an eye on the silver and gold market is really important as well. Keep an eye on what the prices are doing. If you're buying your silver on a quarterly or annual basis and you're looking at the silver price and it's going up day after day after day, it's definitely worth thinking about maybe buying early, saving yourself something in the long term. There are big events in the world as well to keep an eye on. So there was Brexit in the UK. Foolishly, I kind of just assumed it would never happen, but it ended up happening. If I'd bought a bunch of silver before the Brexit vote, I could have made an absolute killing, because things went up £2, £3, £4 an ounce after that. So it's really, really worth keeping an eye on the market. I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't take this as advice. But I think now is probably quite a good time to still buy silver. If Donald Trump wins the election, I'm pretty sure silver and gold are going to go a bit mental. So it's worth hedging bets right now to see what happens. And then top tip number 5, the last top tip, is to have an exit strategy. And in my opinion, you should have 2 exit strategies. One which is a longer term, true kind of exit strategy, how you're going to get your return on your investment. And then the other, I think, should be an emergency exit strategy. Whilst hopefully in step 1 you've budgeted and you've planned your finances well enough that you won't need to touch your silver in an emergency, everybody should be aware that life throws curveballs at everybody, and you just never know what might happen, and you might need your money in one way or another. It's definitely worth thinking about that. So my exit strategy is to look to sell these to private individuals through eBay, through the Silver Forum when the time comes. It could be for you that you want to go and sell it to bullion dealers. You want to go down to your local coin shop and sell them to them, but be aware that they'll probably just pay you spot or even under spot at the time for anything that you're trying to sell. So it's well worth considering what your exit strategy is going to be. And my short-term exit strategy is using goldtraders.co.uk. Use them to sell my sovereign, got a really great price for it. For silver they're only going to pay spot or less, in fact less than spot, but it's still something that I could get the money within 2-3 days. So it's definitely worth thinking about how you're going to get your money back in the long term and short term. So thank you very much for watching, and if you stayed throughout the whole 10 minutes, thank you very much for listening to me waffle on. If you've got any thoughts or comments yourself, please do make them below. And again, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.